Peter Morrison is the International President of Skål International, one of the world's leading tourism bodies. Peter Morrison, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Mike. Great to be on this live interview.
Okay. Now, the COVID-19, tourism, Skål, how has it affected the whole organisation? Because you primarily are involved with tourism.
We are. That's 100% of our members are all involved in tourism. We've got 14,300 worldwide, and they range from airlines, hotels, travel agents, you name it. Anyone in tourism is entitled to be, car rentals, etc., etc. So 35% of our members are travel agents. So you can imagine what has happened to them with no one travelling around the world. And that's been their last 3 months is refunding people's travel if they've still got a job. There's quite a number have lost their jobs, or in America they're on furlough, or in other places in the world they're on furlough, or they've taken early retirement, or they're still working and they're getting 60% of their pay. But it's been a terrible situation. We are trying to look after them as best we can as an organisation, and I just want to add now that this is the best time they can be a member of our organisation, because we can all work together, do business together around the world and look after each other.
You're talking to various Skål organisations or chapters around the world. I mean, a lot's happening. What about throughout Asia? Not only do they have, especially in Hong Kong, COVID is still there. Tourism is a trickle, to say the least. But also they've got a lot of civil unrest, as with the US. How does your members, how do they cope with that? Because it's COVID is bad enough, but once the civil unrest hits, well, it becomes doubly worse, doesn't it?
It has, and the Hong Kong situation's been going on for over a year now. We still have a very strong club in Hong Kong, and they're coping, but they've had a double whammy really, with the unrest that started last year, now this, and more unrest, and the new laws that have just been brought in. It's been pretty tough for them.
What's the situation in New Zealand right now with hospitality and the tourism sectors?
Well, we you would have caught up that we're now on level 1, so we're basically operating back to normal. But the biggest things that is upsetting or pulling down tourism and hospitality is because of the border restrictions we still have. And because 70% of our tourism in New Zealand was our biggest industry. It overtook dairy industry a couple of years ago. And and there's billions of dollars of tourist dollars coming in. So at the moment, it's not happening. And so we're pushing for domestic tourism, but again, that is nowhere near the amount of money that the overseas tourists brought in. And of course, that affects hotels, it affects travel agents, but that goes right down the line, not just to bars and restaurants, but it goes right down the line. I always say the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker, because all those people supply restaurants, bars, hotels. They're all missing out, and the taxi driver's missing out. The petrol station that fills the taxi driver, taxi, is missing out. So yes, it's right. It's great that we're back to level 1 and we can go out and we can socialise, and there's no social distancing, and we've still got people arriving back, New Zealanders arriving back from overseas that are in isolation, and there's quite a number. There's something like 6,000 or 7,000 people in isolation in hotels.
That's enormous. That's just enormous.
Yeah. So that is happening, and those hotels are doing all right. But the rest of the hotels, there's a lot of them closed, not permanently. They've gone. What do they call it? I'm trying to think of the right term.
They're in hibernation.
Hibernation. That's the word.
There you are. It's been used a few times.
Yeah, and what is open is probably only running anything between 10 and 20%.
Wow, that's terrible.
And hotels as well, backpackers, Airbnb, all that, even though as a hotelier, we don't really support Airbnb because they're not on a level playing field.
No.
But everyone is suffering.
If somebody wants to find out more about Skål, because I know that you have a delightful lunch with some fine New Zealand wine not far away, so we can't keep you from that. Yep. We must put our priorities right here. If somebody wants to find out more about Skål, how do they do that? Because it's a great organisation, and it's you're just worldwide, and you've got your finger on the pulse. It's if you're in tourism or related to a tourist business, I think you need to be a member.
Yeah, they do. They do definitely need. And in your country, there's 24 clubs spread right throughout Australia.
Mm-hmm. And
the quickest way to get on to find out where they are is to go onto the world website, which is www.skål.org.
Fantastic.
Now, so that's the best way to get on, and they will find clubs listed there in Australia. They'll find clubs all around the world, and that's the benefit, is that when we get back to travelling around the world, you'll be very welcome to attend a Skål lunch in Hong Kong, or a Skål lunch in New York, or a Skål dinner in London. No, that's what it's all about. And it's when you get there, you give some business cards out, and you actually end up doing business.
Yep, it's very prolific and great organisation. And I've been to a couple of their functions, and it becomes very salubrious partway through it.
Yeah, we certainly enjoy our food and wine. Yep.
Peter Morrison, International President of Skål International. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All the best.